Ramaiah Memorial Hospital, one of the leading multi-super specialty quaternary care hospitals in the city, commemorates World Osteoporosis Day with an awareness program on bone health and the rising burden of osteoporosis, focusing on timely screening and diagnosis through the new and advanced DXA scanner with superior and accurate test results.
Osteoporosis Day is observed on October 20th, but also incidentally October 1st is the International Day for Elderly Persons as assigned by the United Nations. In India, the lifespan is increasing gradually thanks to improved nutrition, improved access to healthcare and also recent advances in science. The mean lifespan of Indians has now moved to 72 years. Currently in India, up to 14% of all individuals in the population are more than 60 years of age. And this number is going to increase to about 20% by 2050. What this essentially means is that India is graying, and for us to make sure that our economy grows as well as our country itself is to make sure that the elderly individuals are living independently and also living fulfilling lives. Much of the strength which comes with age belongs to the strength which comes from the bone and the muscle. Now, the journey of bone health begins when we start growing up, and the maximum bone strength happens when we are in our early 20s. Throughout our age, our bone strength keeps gradually coming down. For women around menopause, there is a sharp drop in the bone strength, but men also gradually continue to lose bone mass with age. Apart from this, any major illness that you have, any major insult that happens to our overall health, it could be a major hospitalization, it could be exposure to certain drugs or treatment for, let us say, uncontrolled diabetes also does bring down our bone mass with every single time. So age is a major risk factor for osteoporosis, as we all know. Now, as Dr. Ganvi has explained in the video, when our bones are weak, we fracture easily. When we fracture, of course the fracture itself is painful, but it also means that it could mean that you become dependent on somebody, lose your independence. It could also increase your risk of mortality.
So when you talk about osteoporosis, as a general statement, if you remember one thing, that all women who are coming and who are above the age of 65 and all men above the age of 70 should be screened. That's universal, all over the world. But in our country, there's a little bit of a difference. We screen 5 years early as per our Indian guidelines. So we screen all women above the age of 60 and above men all above the age of 65, preferably because they have a poorer bone health as compared to Western population. So universally 65 for women and 70 for men is what we know. But we screen our patients a bit early. So we have diabetes patients, we have patients with so many other comorbidities which can affect their bone health. So that is why if we have a patient who has diabetes and is a woman, then we'll screen her at 60. If we have a man who has diabetes and is coming to us at the age of 65, we'll screen that man for osteoporosis. So we screen them a bit early, and our Indian guidelines also recommend that we screen men and women 5 years earlier than what the Westerners screen. Because we know that our build is small, our patients take less calcium from the baseline itself from childhood, their bones may be weaker as compared to their Caucasian counterparts, and they may need early screening. Also, we have to remember that there are some conditions where you have to screen very early. Like if a woman has an early menopause, so normally the women will have menopause around 45, 50 beyond, or around 50 and 45, but sometimes the women may have a menopause before 40. And then you can screen them even at the age of 50 because you know that they are already 10 years post their menopause and they need an early screen.
Our intention is how to keep the people healthy. Today, all of us have elders at home. We are also growing old. They have given the statistics very clearly. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 10 men are exposed to this over the age. And you know, diabetes is the major non-communicable disease in the society, which also is one of the indications for bones getting weaker. The question is all about the 3 types of screening which Dr. Pramila explained. One is a mass screening, which Bone density was there for last 2 decades. We are doing BMT in all health checkups and doing. Then we moved into DEXA now because which is the latest thing. It's not just quantitative, it also comes with qualitative information so that the treatment will become very, very accurate and specific in this machine. So just in a layman's language, this not only detects, also helps in treating the patient. It has got a dual advantage in this
May
machine.
not be true. It may be because bone weak ಆಗಿದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿದ್ದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅದು bone weak ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. So maybe it is because of the weakness of the bone that they have fallen down. So the fracture has happened and they have fallen because of that. And therefore, I think it's very important that people understand this. They become aware that bone health is necessary to be diagnosed early. ಇನ್ನು ಮೊದಲೇ ನಮಗೆ ಬೋನ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾದ್ರೆ ಈ machine through this machine, then we'll be able to give them treatment so that they prevent the fracture and the painful procedure. Fracture ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸರ್ಜರಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ದಿನ ಅವರು ಫಿಸಿಕಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓಡಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So this must be this is one of the main reasons why screening is necessary to prevent all these problems. So I think this is a very good initiative, and I request you all to suggest it to our faculty to bring their elderly family members here for screening so that it can prevent all these painful prolonged hospitalization among them.
Hello, I am Dr. Pramila Kalra. I am consultant endocrinologist at Ramaiah Memorial Hospital, Bengaluru. Today I will be telling you little bit about osteoporosis. Now, what is osteoporosis? Osteoporosis means when with age the bones weaken, and what happens, the bone mineral density comes down and the bone mineral content comes down and the bones become weak and they become prone to fracture. So it is very, very important that any woman who is above the age of 65 and any man who is above the age of 70 years should screen themselves for osteoporosis. That is done with this machine which we are showing today, that is the DEXA machine, by which we check that whether the patient has osteoporosis or not. In the DEXA machine, we do a score called as T-score, which tells us that whether the person has osteoporosis or has a tendency to get osteoporosis in future. So why it is important? Because if we check for osteoporosis, we know that this patient has a chance of fracture and that person can be given therapy to prevent the fracture. There are various types of therapies which are available to prevent fractures, which can be given to these patients depending on the risk of osteoporosis at the fracture. We have to see how much is the risk of fracture, and according to that we give the therapy to prevent the fracture. We also counsel our patients about good intake of calcium and vitamin D and prevention of falls, because if they fall they can have a propensity to fracture, especially older patients. We tell them to not have cluttering in the room and to not walk on uneven ground unsupported, because if they fall they can fracture and that can be very dangerous. So that's another thing which we need to take care of. Thank you.